I was watching, there was like a 20-minute video from Visegrad. He had the Imam of Peace on. I'm sure you are familiar, as are others. The Imam of Peace was mentioning just kind of how toxic the IRGC and the Ayatollahs have been for Iran. But specifically, he talked about how Khamenei, during his time in jail or prison or whatever it was over the years, that he was heavily shaped by, I don't know how to say the last name, but Sayyid Qutb books while he was in prison, and was basically equating his rule to the Muslim Brotherhood. I know a lot of people have these questions or ideas about like Sunni and Shia and how this group and that group and whatever, but can you touch on a little bit that topic? How maybe the books, maybe Khamenei's essentially, carrying out Muslim Brotherhood ideology through Iran? And can you give your opinions on the Imam of Peace?
The Velayat Faqih version of 12er Shia Islam, which we call it Khomeinism, just to keep it shorter. That is a mix of the previously what we knew as 12er Shia Islam before Khomeini created this concept of Velayat Faqih and merged it with the ideology that came from Muslim Brotherhood through Qutb, right? And this process started before Khomeini. The process started before Khomeini through somebody called Nawab Safavi. And there's a picture of Nawab Safavi and Qutb meeting with each other. So this is Muslim Brotherhood, Qutb, the founder of everything that you guys consider right now as, I don't know, the Muslim brother modern. I mean, it started with Bana, but eventually Qutb is the person that created the modern version of it. This guy on the left is the father of Hamas and everything else, and the Islamic ideology in Qatar and in Turkey. So that's this guy, right? And this is the left guy is Sunni, the right guy is Nawab Safavi, is Shia. He's basically the inspiration of for people like Khomeini and Khamenei. He basically started more he basically borrowed these ideas from the political ideas from Muslim Brotherhood. This was the bridge. This is when all of it started. So the Muslim Brotherhood is the modern method of bringing Islam into politics after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. That's what that is, right? So Muslim Brotherhood is using the current modern political frameworks to figure out a way how to bring back Islam, to rule with Islam. And it's something that a lot of people think that the leaders in Islamic countries are for Islamic rule. They're not, okay? And this is why they consider Muslim Brotherhood to be a terrorist organization that they're constantly trying to fight against, like the Saudis and the Emiratis and the people of Bahrain. But Muslim Brotherhood failed. The only place now that I know of right now that Muslim Brotherhood is ruling is in Gaza. They almost had the success after the Arab Spring in Egypt, but that didn't last long. But even though Sunnis failed to bring Islam back to have Islamic rule after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, and the Muslim Brotherhood was an attempt to do that, the Nawab Safavi brought that concept from Muslim Brotherhood and brought it to Iran. And eventually, after a couple of trials and errors, Nawab Safavi was not successful, but eventually the people that continued his work managed to figure out a way to turn that into the Velayat Faqih ideology, or the guardianship of the Jurist ideology, and come up with the framework for how mullahs should be ruling, so to create a theocracy. So the Shias were successful where the Sunnis failed. And to be able to do that, I mean, Sunnis already had the framework for why Islam should be ruling, but Shias didn't. So the Shias basically took what Muslim Brotherhood had and came up with the idea that, yeah, we need Islamic rule. But because the Shia ideology didn't have a framework for that, because for the Shia ideology you need to actually be waiting until the Mahdi comes back for you to actually have Islamic rule. So Khomeini basically, where Nawab Safavi brought that brought that idea to Iran, that we need to have Islamic rule, but Khomeini, through his book Velayat al-Faqih, came up with the religious justification for it by arguing for the idea that we can have Islamic rule before the Mahdi comes back by having the representative of Mahdi rule while he's gone. So basically, Khomeini, or the supreme leader, will be considered to be in direct communication with and the representative of the Mahdi while he's in hiding. So that's the idea of Vilayat al-Faqih. Khomeini did that, and then Khomeini is now supposed. Khomeini, well, now I'm not used to him being dead. Khomeini then was supposed to be the representative of Mahdi while he's away, and now Mujtaba Khomeini is supposed to be the representative of Mahdi while he's away. So that being said, many Shias do not believe in Vilayat Faqih. Many 12er Shias do not believe in Vilayat Faqih. And the most important marja in Shia Islam, that is the alternative, in 12er Shia Islam, that is an alternative to the concept of Khomeini's Vilayat Faqih, is Sistani, Ayatollah Sistani in Iraq, right? So some people, like the Imam of Peace, for example, are trying to sell the idea that Shia Islam is not the problem, but Sunni Islam is the problem, and among Shia Islam, Khomeinism and the mullahs in Tehran are the problem. And that's bullshit. Okay? There is no version of Islam that is okay. There is no version of Islam that is okay, including the 12er Shia Islam that is not Velayat Faqih. There is no. So, for example, the Imam of Peace, he's a mullah. Okay, he's a mullah. We're done with mullahs. I don't care if you come in Khomeini version or in Sistani version, it doesn't matter. We Iranian people have had enough with mullahs. I mean, Sistani, for example, who's supposed to be the secular moderate Shia Muslim, he didn't say anything when it came to what the Islamic Republic was doing early January, when they were killing tens of thousands of Iranians. But he came out and condemned their military operations against the Islamic Republic. He condemned that, right? At the end of the day, it's Islam, and Islam is toxic. And these other Shia Muslims who are basically speaking against the mullahs in Tehran, but selling their own version of Islam. One thing I noticed they're doing is they're selling Hussein as this anti-terrorist figure. So there's this is like something that the Imam of Peace suggests, right? Sunnis are the radical terrorists. Okay, the problem is with Sunnism. It's not with Shia Islam. And what Khomeini was teaching, does not reflect Shia Islam, because Shia Islam is secular. Shia Islam teaches you not to be involved with the government until the Mahdi comes, right? Shia Islam teaches you that Ali massacred Jews. Before Khamenei, it was teaching it. So, and the Imam of Peace is an advocate for Shia Islam. It's an advocate. He believes in Ali. He believes in Hussein. He reveres those figures. Those people were Jew killers. Ali was famous for killing so many Jews. This is authentic Islamic and Shia hadith, that Ali killed so many Jews, and they were proud of it. And that is somebody that the Imam of Peace respects. Imam of Peace suggests that Hussein was an anti-terrorist revolutionary person, that the Sunnis were evil, and Yazid, for example, was a terrorist of his time, and Hussein was the freedom fighter against Yazid. It's completely the other way around. I mean, none of these stories happened, at least not the way that the Muslims tell you. But just going based on their narrative, Yazid was the secular guy. Yazid was the one who was supposed to bring peace and prosperity to the region. Hussein was the terrorist. Hussein wanted to rule like his father. Muawiyah brought many years of peace and prosperity to the region. And when Ali became the caliph, the fourth caliph, it was complete chaos. It was bloodbath. It was everybody was, it was Muslim on Muslim internal civil war because Ali insisted that we have to live by Islam. Muawiyah was trying to live based on prosperity and trade and acceptance of people with different views. It's like, as long as you don't rebel against the government, you could have whatever religious views and religious practices that you want. Just don't be a rebel. And during his time, everything was becoming better. But Ali, as soon as Ali came to power, the growth that the community, the society was having, it all collapsed. Because he was insisting that we need religious purity. And Hussein was the terrorist that, just like his father, was more interested in religious purity rather than prosperity and tolerance. And Yazid was the one who was the legitimate ruler at his time, and he wanted to do the same thing that Muawiyah did, but because he wasn't obsessed with religion like Ali and Hussein, Hussein was rebelling against them. So Hussein was the terrorist. Hussein was the Jew killer. Ali was the Jew killer. Yazid and Muawiyah were the tolerant ones. And the Imam of Peace is on the side of Ali and Hussein. So he's the one who's on the side of terrorism. Does that answer the question, BT? Good question, by the way.
Yes, thank you. That answered both my questions. Okay, next up is Shauna.
I want to know why you don't think that there should be capital punishment and why we can't have mullah heads on spikes. Okay, that sounds a little dramatic, but I don't mean literally, but I just don't understand why these people they forced parents to pay for the bullets that were put into their daughters after they were raped so they couldn't go to heaven. Like, I don't understand why these people shouldn't get executed. Like, why are you saying that there shouldn't be capital? I understand why there shouldn't be no torture because 'cause they're still human beings, and I don't think we should torture them, but I don't understand why they deserve to live.
Well, first of all, I didn't say that. I said I was communicating what Shirin Abadi was saying. Shirin
Okay,
Abadi is Princess of Pahlavi's choice for the head of the, you know, the the Justice Council. I forgot what the official name for that is,
okay,
right? I'm in favor of what gets us fastest to peace, stability, and prosperity, right? As that's my priority is not revenge. If executions gets us to stability faster, go with the execution. If execution gets us
okay.
makes things unstable and brings more chaos and
So you're
cycle of
being something
violence,
of a pragmatist about it.
yeah, I'm a consequentialist. I know that emotionally I would like to see some of these people suffer, but my personal desire for revenge is not the priority here. Iran becoming peaceful and prosperous and stable is a higher priority. Whatever gets us that is more important than us feeling enjoying the pain of the people who were torturing us, right? That is the priority, right? So if you could show me that, yeah, executing some of these people will get us there faster, I'm like, okay, then execute them. But if you could show me that no, the executions will make things more unstable and will cause like more chaos, then I will like, well, then don't execute these people. All right. So that's the key difference
Okay.
maker for me: stability and prosperity. And
The
yeah,
Iranian people deserve that as soon as possible. I agree with that. I just thought you were saying that there I misunderstood what you were saying because I think that these people deserve to die. Like, yeah.
yeah. But give me a second to just tell you what goes into both sides of the arguments for which one gives you stability, right? Because again, what they deserve is like might satisfy us personally, but again, a whole society, a whole nation working out is like a more important. But justice has two purposes. Okay, when people talk about justice, either for emotional satisfaction of the people who were wronged, or for stability. So I think like we need stability. But here's my calculation. Okay, so here are arguments for and against it. Right, the arguments against executing these people is that right now we need to communicate to the remaining forces of the Islamic Republic that they don't need to continue to fight to save their lives, right? Because if their understanding is that we're going to be killing them, then they're going to be fighting until their very last breath, right? So there needs to be a way out for them. So instead of just thinking about only the future, we need to be talking about winning the revolution right now as well, right? So we need to, if they think that I need to keep fighting or else these people will kill me, if we communicate with them, well, we're not actually going to be killing you, then there's more of them that will stop fighting. So that's the argument for why we need to be communicating that there's going to be no execution. The argument for why we might need some executions is because the Iranian people are so angry, and some of them do want, demand executions so much that if you don't give them those executions, there's going to be instability, because a lot of people, some people might think like, okay, well, the revolution hasn't been successful if these people are still living, right? I don't know how big of a factor that is going to be. I do know that when Princess of Pahlavi says something, it has a huge effect on people. So maybe a lot of these people will be, I don't know. So I think that's a problem that we need to deal with when we get there. We will see how much we could get away with, like based on what the Iranian people are demanding. But right now we're in the middle of the revolution, and that's a problem that we're going to have for after the revolution. Right now, for the priority should be winning this revolution, and for winning the revolution, we need to be communicating to the regime forces that we're not going to have executions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so,
I still don't like it, but it makes sense. I the
yeah.
only thing that would that I could think of against myself just for feedback is the only thing that I would be concerned is that sometimes when these kinds of revenge I don't think that this would happen under Pahlavi or anything like that, but sometimes I mean, we saw the French Revolution, for example, like, things get crazy quickly, humans and sometimes and innocents die because people go crazy.
Yeah,
You're
that's actually
muted.
such a good point, because when you start with one or two executions, then when you get on a roll, they're like, okay, like why stop at, like, if we executed this guy, why not that guy? Is he not that important? Then you have 10 executions, and then you have 10 executions. People just, it becomes, you get addicted to executions. People are like, well, if that guy was on the list, well, this guy was worse, so why is he not being executed? So you, if you start giving into that demand for the executions, we might actually go, we might have a, like a huge, we have to be careful with what you're starting. Like my idea before any of this started, like years ago, was like, because we had this debate for years on on my Persian channel, and that was when Khomeini was still alive, and I was like, guys, what if we just have one symbolic class execution of Khamenei? I mean, like, this is the one and only execution we do, all right? And this is the, we close the, this that after that we're done with the execution. So like Romania had that. Romania, when they toppled the dictator, they executed the dictator and his wife, and then after that they were like, okay, we're done with execution. But here's the thing, it's not about what's right, it's about what the realities on the ground are and what we can do, because the objective, like, we might be, it's more, it's not about figuring out what is the moral thing to do, like on the ground in the field, the, you might be, you need to see like what different forces will push you in a position that you have to do something, or else everything will break apart. So it's not like we cannot just sit around and decide things. Once we get to that level, the situation, the answer will force it away on you. You know what I mean? Like there will be no other acceptable answer, and it's more deterministic than a lot of people, I think, realize.
Next, we have Miss Olga.
Well, thank you, Oka. Thank you, Oka. Yeah.
a solid opinion on those things.